Hello comrades, Commissar Bro here today with Planet 1138. That's right, this game is an action RTS game. I hesitate to say RTS because it seems to me to be more of like a MOBA, like League of Legends or something like that, where you have minions that spawn and stuff like that. Now, this game is a strategy game in the sense that you do have units and you can have slight control over them using the numpad 1, 2, 3, and 4 to like hold position or attack this outpost, so on and so forth. But for the most part, actual control is very, very limited, like other action RTS games in this genre. By the way, just as a disclaimer, I'm actually doing commentary over the gameplay when normally I do live commentary while playing the game. For some reason, this game refuses to record any sound at all when I'm recording. I don't know why. Hence why the video is quiet itself. Normally it would have sound and so on and so forth. But anyway, disclaimer out the window. I just want to let you guys know. Anyway, so the purpose of it is you capture bases that are all over the map. They spawn units, which then push forward and attack other units until eventually they get to the enemy base, they destroy the enemy shield generator, and then they blow up the enemy base. Now, there are 2 players on the map, one for each team. There's you playing for the blue team, and then there's one other playing for the red team. And let me tell you right now, that AI is a cheating son of a bitch. Like, maybe there's a lock-on button that I didn't see in the tutorial, but from what I can tell, he is really hard to hit. He automatically detects you and aims at you the entire time you're within his line of sight. He will not shoot anything else, which, keep in mind, is probably a smart thing. But even though this is only the second level, or excuse me, there's the tutorial, there's level 1, and this is level 2, yeah. So, even though this is only the second level, I've played this level 3 times and failed every single time because I cannot compete against that AI. Like, it just moves faster. It has 360-degree shot, like radius thing, essentially. It's got line of sight on every angle, whereas you can only shoot forward, which is a huge disadvantage, especially considering you don't have any damage boost. Like, you can get upgrades the more you play, but you don't start out with a damage boost. So, that AI pretty much just kicks your ass, especially early on in the game. Now, again, I'm not sure if there actually is a lock-on button. You can't go into the option menus once the game has actually started. Like, right now, if I tried to press escape, if I was playing it, nothing would happen, or tab. There's no menus or anything to look at key bindings unless you're on the main menu itself. Which brings me to my next complaint with the game. The UI is not very good, like at all. And that's not this particular user interface right here, but just in general, it's very cheap looking. It looks like it was made in MS Paint. Which I understand, low budget, and you know, I'm not trying to pick on the game. I'm really not. But to me, it seems like if you really want to present your game in a great way, and you want to charge, you know, how much is it? I think it's $9.99. Yeah, $10 for the game. Like, you got to give a bit more presentation to the actual game in the sense you got to make it look like you're selling a quality product, if you know what I mean. Like, if you look at the menus, and, you know, I might insert a little bit of footage of the menu just to prove the point I'm trying to make here, it sells the game short. It makes the game seem like it's lesser quality than what it is. Which, as it stands, this game's a solid game. It works. It's functioning, and as far as action RTS goes, I mean, it is what it is. Personally, I would have much preferred to be able to have a bit more control over units, to let it be less focused on lane combat, because you know that makes it a lot like Warshift, which honestly is a bit better of a game. It's much faster paced, and in my opinion, it's really hard, but it's a little better because of the fact that you have more control. You've actually got a bunch of different unit types. Graphically, it's much better. The presentation overall is much better. But then again, that game also suffered a little bit with its presentation because it was just, there was so much stuff on the screen. As far as a minimalism aspect goes, though, like when you're playing this game, I think this interface is fine. It's just the menus and stuff like that. And maybe that's just a personal pet peeve there. But see, like, even look, the spawn there, spawn in 4, it was done in like Arial black or something. You know, it's kind of like, to me, that's kind of a cheap font. But, you know, what do I know? What do I know? It seems like I'm picking on the game. I'm really not. I played this game for about 4 hours now, I think, and of the time I put into it, it's fun. There's some interesting quirks to it, and as a whole, I love this genre. Like, Uprising, Join or Die is pretty much like my favorite classic PC game of all time. I love that game. But see, there was more of a gimmick to it. You had to manage your power systems as well as being able to call in units, and you still had the set base pieces that you would have to call in and stuff, but you had resource management as well. It was more of an RTS. This really isn't an RTS. This is not a real-time strategy game. This is more of a MOBA, a multiplayer online battle arena, which makes sense for it, and I'm cool with calling it that because to me that's what it looks like. You know, playing it, it has a very similar feel to League of Legends or something like that. Now, when you're playing these maps by yourself, it feels much more frantic than if you would be playing it with other people. Like, if you had 2 people on a team versus 2, that would probably be a lot better, in my opinion, than, say, like, what I'm doing here against the AI. And even then, the AI, if there's a lock-on button, please correct me. Please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm more than willing to accept that I may be wrong about that. But it does not seem like there's a lock-on button, so it makes that AI unfucking stoppable. Like, I mean, you can kill him a couple times, but more likely than not, if you see the AI, just turn the other way and start fucking running, because they are going to hunt you down and they are going to destroy you. Now, keep in mind, this game does actually have multiplayer, but as far as I've seen, it's only 1v1. And again, I could be wrong about that. Yeah, there's a lot of things I'm willing to admit I may be wrong about. But for the most part, in the time I've spent with the game, I find it hard to recommend it. The game just doesn't really feel finished. It feels like there could have been a lot more done with it, which is a shame, because I like the concept. I actually like the mechanics. It works. Again, I enjoyed Warshift as well. You know, Warshift was very similar to this concept. It was just, you know, done better with more oomph to it. And there were some weird mechanics in that one too, as people try to make this genre come back in strange ways. But it wasn't, you know, it wasn't entirely a game I loved. It was alright. It was alright. And, you know, honestly, if you ask me, if you want to make this genre come back with a bang, truly, look at games like Battlezone. Look at games like Uprising, Join or Die, or Uprising 2, Lead and Destroy. Those are the games that you want to look to, or Battlezone 2, to really know how to do these games. Because the way they're setting these up, these are more MOBAs than they are action RTS games. Which, you know, there's not anything wrong with that, but you don't build troops per se. Troops spawn. You don't have to manage resources. All you need to do is manage lanes. And you need to pray that the AI doesn't come down your lane, because if he comes down your lane, he's just going to violate you viciously. So, yeah, there is a lot of maps in this game, though. That's something I will say, is that, you know, the developer did not skimp on the maps, which is a great thing. There's a lot of strategy that's going to go into that. But sometimes those maps are circumvented by the pathfinding. It seems like some of the lanes, or some of the, even your units or the enemy units, they go off lane and, you know, they just screw it all up in a sense. Like, they don't stay on the lane like they should, so they can just get around bases and get around units. And maybe they're meant to do that, but that seems kind of weird based on the concept that you're going for here. Something else I would really highly suggest is put the enemy units on the map. Like when they're moving, you can see your units as big blue dots, but you cannot see the enemy units, which is, in my opinion, a terrible, terrible thing. Because you can't tell which areas are being overrun. You can't tell if it's the enemy AI player that's doing it, or if it's actually just their tank creeps, if it's the creeps doing it. Which, in my opinion, that should be kind of clarified and, made very clear in a sense of who is actually there, who's doing it. Because, like, if you see the map here, all you can see is the blue guys. And we can assume that the AI player's in the middle capping the base, but that's all we know. So that's my other suggestion. But aside from that, if this is something you like, be sure to support the developers. The game is only $9.99. It might be a bit overpriced in its current state, and it might be something that you want to wait for to go on sale. But as a whole, I love the concept, and I would do anything to support this genre, as it's one of my favorite genres. The whole action RTS games is something that I think needs to grow. I think it never caught on, and it definitely deserves a future. So if this is something you're interested in, be sure to go support the dev right now on Steam. If it's not, then save your money. But anyway, this has been Commissar, bro, and I'll see you next time.